Guys, I have PNGs now, and today we're reviewing Gotham High! I'm also going to be redrawing the cover because it's a really weird cover. Now, into the awfulness we go! For the record, I'm not gonna, hate on this because it's woke or anything. I'm gonna hate on it for all the weird plot things it did, and tiny-faced Asian Bruce Wayne. I don't know why they drew him like that. I'm gonna try my hardest to be fair to Gotham High, even if some people believe it doesn't deserve that. And that means judging it in a vacuum, divorced from Batman canon. I mean, it basically already does that, you know? It's like he's not even trying to be a part of the Batman mythos. And because I'm an artist first and a writer/writing enthusiast second, I'm gonna judge it based on the art first, which also fits because I'm redrawing the cover. The art is mid, kinda mediocre or something, but I feel like it's too close to a rough sketch. It doesn't look very finished. And what the hell is going on with the designs? Jack looks terrible, okay? And not at all like the Joker, but that's besides the point, okay? And don't even get in tiny-faced Asian Bruce Wayne. Overall, the art is really generic, and because of how sketchy and unfinished it looks, it makes it feel more like a really, really weird fan comic than something that DC actually decided to put out. And onto the writing we go! I'm theoretically the target audience for this book because I'm young, liberal, and not white and stuff, but that's not gonna stop me from trashing it. First up, I had no investment in the characters at all. You could have had a zombie bust in and decapitate everyone and I would have been like, oh yeah, that happened. You know? I don't care about these people. I think it would have been more interesting if they got decapitated by a zombie, actually. Second, let's talk about our narrator, Miss Selena Garcia Kyle. She's kind of a Mary Sue. She behaves really, really, awfully to the people around her, particularly two boys who just straight up want nothing but the best for her. And then the story is just yeah, hashtag girl boss, with absolutely no repercussions for her actions. Because of the ending and how she ran away to Paris and stuff, it gives out the vibe that she was more concerned over proving she was independent than actually helping her dad. It's definitely not what Melissa De La Cruz was aiming for, unless she's a really convoluted person. But it definitely is the effect that she gave off. Furthering the argument that she is one hell of a Mary Sue, she pulls a billionaire boy and a whatever the hell Jack is with absolutely no issues, and they still care for her, even after she organized the kidnapping of a kid and admitted to a lot of crimes. She also thinks her own kidnapping, and I don't know why, but the kidnapping scenes in this book are weirdly unbelievable. I don't think this is how a kidnapping would work. Then there's the fact that she blames Bruce for it being convoluted, when maybe she should have just asked him for help instead of resorting to crimes. I also find it really weird how the author puts so much emphasis on the fact that this version of Bruce Wayne is Asian. I mean, they can't go 5 minutes without reminding you about it. You know? It's they're really, really trying to hammer home their point. We get it, Melissa. You made him Asian, and also, for some reason, they drew him with a face the size of an atom. I'm very sorry for fixating so much on the tiny-faced Asian Bruce Wayne, but I'm sorry, it's just so annoying. Now, I know I said I was gonna, review it divorced from Batman canon, but that was, a temporary thing. I mean, DC did officially publish this, and Melissa De La Cruz kind of acts like it's almost a prequel to the Batman comics, which is really weird because of how it goes against the canon a lot. For one, Richard Grayson, aka Dick Grayson, is in high school right now, and also he's black. Wasn't he in the circus? And he'd be really young. Actually, he might just straight up be a baby at this point in Bruce's life. Then there's the case of Harvey Dent, and the fact that, wasn't he given a really, really bad acid scar because he was the district attorney and the Joker decided to mess with him? And, he's currently not the district attorney because he's 16. And I do find it quite peculiar that he latched onto coin flipping after a coin flip was a huge part of a very traumatic moment. I'm not sure how trauma works. Can anyone tell me if this is an actual thing that could have happened, someone latching on to an aspect of their trauma like that? Another bit of this story that feels weird to me is the fact that Selena is not depicted as a thief, really. Like, gives off more con artist vibes, considering how she scammed people a lot. And since when has Catwoman been a con artist? She's always been like a cat burglar archetype. She's called Catwoman for crying out loud. And then there's Jack Napier, who is completely butchered here. You know? Like, the little, like, bit where Selena talks about him says that he has a wicked sense of humor, but we don't see that. He feels too much like a generic teenage delinquent rather than someone with, like, a motivation and drive to do completely horrifying stuff that's also so stupid and ridiculous that you just gotta laugh at it. Oh, and this version of Bruce Wayne does not act like Bruce Wayne, to be honest. Like, there's no real detective skill. He doesn't have that trademark trauma that we all know and love. He feels just like a generic protagonist that also happens to be way too rich, you know? But I have to admit, throwing a party to investigate a kidnapping is pretty in character. If only it could have been used in a decent storyline that doesn't involve a hashtag girlboss narrator that also happens to be a terrible person, but we can't say that, the story doesn't want that to be true. Overall, though, in a way, the story is actually worse than if it had been so terrible that I couldn't even get past the first page, or so terrible that it was unintentionally the greatest comedy ever by virtue of being that terrible that you just gotta laugh at the fact that someone actually wrote, published, and edited that. Really, the story is pure boredom, you know, no emotions incited. It's about as exciting as watching paint dry. No emotions, of course, except for me balking at the fact that they drew Bruce Wayne with the world's tiniest face, and also made him look like some freaky K-pop idol gone wrong. I once again apologize for the way that tiny-faced Asian Bruce Wayne has taken over my conscience. And now let's talk about how and why I redesigned this cover. I am basically trying to be an art channel here, so of course I need to have a speed paint in the background while I trash the book. So I decided to redraw the cover because, my god, I didn't really like the way that the characters didn't seem to be acknowledging each other, and their faces didn't, like, evoke any emotions similar to the story itself. Of course, I'm not sure the way I drew the cover is actually better, but it's at the very least, they don't look highly generic anymore. In order to fix the fact that their facial expressions are as bland as the cold cereal I have when I want something for dessert but can't find anything good, I made it so that Bruce is giving like a bombastic side-eye to Jack, signifying the fact that they're going to be rivals in the future and hate each other's guts. Selena looks mischievous and also a tiny bit cat-like. Also, the cat theme, it was barely expressed in the story, which is one hell of a gripe I have with it. And Jack just looks crazy. That's the extent of it. On the original cover, and for most of the story, Bruce is just wearing like a black t-shirt and pants, which is pretty boring. But at one point, he did have this pretty cool looking coat, to be honest. So I gave him that on the cover. It's closer looking to a blazer now. I just thought blazer would be good for like the old money vibes he's supposed to evoke. Selena's outfit is based off of e-girl fashion for no real good reason, and I did give her little kitty headphones, which is cute, and also e-girl. Meanwhile, Jack is wearing the most adolescent boy outfit I've ever seen, basketball shorts and a hoodie, with a ratty-looking purple coat that looks like he found it in a dumpster, thrown on top because style, and also because, let's be honest, he probably would have found a coat in a dumpster and casually worn it or at least this version of the character would. It's also a good visual way of showing that he's financially destitute, and, you know, aren't character designs supposed to show off a little bit of their character? I would do some more tinkering with the way they actually act and stuff, but I don't really care to do that, and let's be honest, you're kind of just here to see me rant, I believe. Oh, and personally, if I were to write Teenage Joker, I would just make his life so stupidly tragic that it sounds like something a 2017 Gotcha video would have cooked up. And to cope, he's constantly making jokes about it. You know, that tracks with how he's depicted in The Killing Joke. Also, it would have made that so-called wicked sense of humor that Selena says he has actually a thing, because jokes are a coping mechanism, and if he's been telling them for a while, he's probably pretty good at it. Teenage Selena Kyle would most likely be getting her start as a thief, you know?
Like, just have a few scenes where she's pickpocketing someone, or like planning on a heist, or thinking about doing it. Come on, within her monologue you could totally pull that off. Oh, and also refrain from making her a sociopathic con artist who leads a pair of boys on and then disappears into the night and leaves her dementia-addled father all alone. Teenage Bruce Wayne would most likely be barely holding it together because, you know, he's highly traumatized, but he seems relatively okay for some reason in Gotham High. I don't know why. Like, you could demonstrate that with, like, the beginning scene with the bullies, right? Have them go, like, way overboard on them, and him getting careless is the reason he gets caught. Okay, I've run out of rant material, so just enjoy the speed paint. This is the final cover. To be honest, this is still not a super good cover, but the facial expressions are a lot more interesting, and so are the designs.